We could potentially get today the announcement of the launch of the Bitcoin spot ETF. And I will show you hard evidence that led me to this conclusion that we potentially get this by today or the latest by tomorrow, which is in the US still today. If you want to know what I have found and also see what's potentially happening in the charts right now, then make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, you like this video, and also activate the bell so that you will never miss out on these really useful updates once I put them out. And now let me show you what I found here. I want to start off with the article that actually stated exact dates from where we could expect the announcement of an ETF launch for next week. So in one of these articles was here on marketsmedia.com, and here you can see BlackRock, VanEck, Valkyrie Investments, Invesco, Fidelity, and WisdomTree Investments were amongst the group of fund managers that had updated the SEC filings for spot Bitcoin ETFs by 29th December of last year. Reuters reported that the US regulator may approve issuers on the 2nd or 3rd January 2024. So now, while that announcement came out, they had pushed it for another day. So the new updated days were between yesterday and today. Everybody's waiting for it today. It's quite early still in the US. I have to calculate back. So it's there, I think around 8 in the morning right now. So I am not expecting here the announcement to be happening before lunchtime. If it's not happening at lunchtime, or let's say just before lunchtime, it might be happening at some point in the afternoon in the US. So which will be like 8 hours onwards from now, which is absolutely fine. So, and of course, when we are getting that announcement, the market will go absolutely crazy. Now, when we are looking again what happened yesterday with the stupid Matrix report that was basically fake news and said, hey, we don't believe a Bitcoin spot ETF will be approved in January. It's highly unlikely, blah, 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 blah. So a couple hours later, it was so funny. A lot of my friends and also Twitter went absolutely haywire about that. The SEC met with the NASDAQ for a potential spot Bitcoin ETF approval. And here you see it. ETFs would trade on New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and Chicago Board Options Exchange. And here in this article of Fox Business, a series of meetings between the SEC and a handful of stock exchanges are fueling confidence that the approval of a long-awaited spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund could be imminent. Fox Business has learned that SEC staff attorneys from the Division of Trading and Markets are meeting Wednesday with officials from the major exchanges, the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and Chicago Board Options Exchange, where the ETFs would be traded. Now you see why the announcement was pushed for a day, because they met only yesterday with all these exchanges to finalize discussions. Hence why we did not get an approval announcement yesterday, and that's why everybody's expecting it to be happening today at some point. The meetings are seen as positive signs that the SEC is nearing approval of some or all of the dozen applications by major money managers and crypto firms for the product. According to people at the firms who asked not to be quoted by name, specifically the SEC is asking the exchanges to revise and finalize their so-called 19B filings submitted by the exchanges on behalf of issuers, which must receive SEC clearance before the ETF can be sold to the public. When I go on here to CoinDesk, so here you see all their deadline. You see we have here ARC21 shares, and there's already a refiling is expiring on the 10th of January. That is also the final deadline, and that was also the final application that they could file for a Bitcoin ETF. So otherwise they have to do the whole filing process again and again, and then the SEC has again another 6 months. So right now it's highly unlikely that this is going to happen, because they have done everything what they had to do to get the ETF approved. If they will not get approved, that will be definitely a bad sign for also all the others. And you have also to understand, they don't have to wait for the deadline to approve the ETF. That's just the final day where they have to make a decision. So, and that's why it's highly likely that here all the others that are for the 14th and 15th January or the 17th of January, that they all get approved together on the 10th to not give ARK investments an edge for like 4 or 5 days. So they want to the SEC wants a plain field for everybody. Everybody gets the same opportunities, and hence why it's highly likely that all of these ETFs will be approved in less than a week from now. Also here, Goldman was in talks with BlackRock because they need an authorized partner to bring clients to the ETF. So, and for BlackRock, Goldman is talking to BlackRock for Goldman clients to invest through BlackRock into an ETF here. So, and also Grayscale was part of that discussion. So here you can see yesterday Goldman Sachs is in talks to be an authorized participant for the spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds that BlackRock and Grayscale are looking to launch. CoinDesk reported on Wednesday, citing people familiar with the situation. Here you see exactly what I mean. There are currently 14 asset managers hoping to finally with the US SEC for approval for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which would track the market price of the underlying crypto asset, giving investors exposure to the token without having to buy the currency. The SEC is expected to announce its decision by the 10th of January, the deadline to either approve or reject the ARK21 shares ETF. To date, the only crypto ETFs approved have been tied to futures contracts on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yes, that's nothing new. We knew that already. Goldman and BlackRock declined for comment here, and Grayscale also did not comment on that. So I think they were told to be silent by the SEC for sure, to not fuel any market speculations or insider trading and so on and so on. And that's absolutely fine, because what is 6 days? We waited over, when did we first talk about an ETF? 3 years ago? I think 3 years ago, something like that, maybe even 4 years ago. What is 6 days now? Nobody cares. So now when we talk about the Bitcoin price, here's something funny aligning with that situation. And I will actually wait a little bit. So with that situation here on the weekly BLX chart, we got here the first ever golden cross on the weekly chart. So it is not 100% confirmed yet, but guys, you know, unless Bitcoin is dropping to like $32,000, we're gonna get that golden cross here. And unless we are breaking to $32,000, it will be also not a fake out. So once we're getting that golden cross here, the first in Bitcoin's history on the weekly chart, I expect that to be coinciding with a push higher. So now here's the thing. Once we're closing on Sunday in 4 days, or in 3.5 days here, the weekly chart, and the 50 moving average goes over the 200 to get that golden cross, we're gonna get our, what is it called, golden cross here then on the weekly chart. And I think with next week, with the spot ETF decision, we're gonna see then also follow through from that golden cross with a nice push here to the upside into potential here $52,000 on the weekly charts. This is my most bullish target for the ETF approval. I don't believe that Bitcoin would potentially go higher than that. So the range is between 48 and 52 for me for the time being. Again, a highly unlikely case that could be happening is that Bitcoin could spike to like $58,000, $60,000 almost, kind of like here. So they are $59,600. So, but this is a highly unlikely scenario, in my opinion, that we are actually getting all the way up here. So I give that a 5% chance that it gets there. So here, 52, that is for me a 40% chance, and 48 is like 100% chance that we are reaching that with the Bitcoin spot ETF approval. So now, how would you trade that? I come back to something what I said yesterday. If we are breaking here $44,600, if we break that, Bitcoin will run to $48,000. There you can open a long position. Or if we are not getting higher, and for some reason the ETF gets it delayed again, and we see another flush to the downside, then around 37, 38, 36, in that vicinity would be then the next level where I would be longing in, and that is also here this major support area that is holding us afloat for now on the weekly chart. When we're going then into lower time frames here on the CME futures chart, we have closed all the CME gaps that were here in the $40,000 area. We have here one last one beneath us from 39,500 to 30,335. So that, yeah, okay, $350. That is the last one. I would not count that to the $40,000 area, more to the $30,000 area, because just slightly above 40. But all the others above got filled. This will be filled, in my opinion, after we get the dump, after the ETF approval, after the euphoria is leaving the market and the market is starting to cool down. Then I believe that we come down and fill that CME gap, which could be also then a bounce area to start trading sideways. And consolidate before we see a continuation to the upside. Here on the lower time frames, on the 1 hourly chart, here we clearly see that Bitcoin is struggling to break above $43,400 approximately, back into that resistance area here. And also we have here a potential rising wedge on the hourly, and that is not a good sign. So if that would be breaking down, then we would get a retest here of $42,000, potentially even break through that and go a little bit lower. So now yesterday we saw here some heavy buyers stepping in, hence why we came so quick back up here. But I'm not quite sure if that will be again the case when we are now multiple times retesting this. At some point it will give in and we go lower to at least $41,600. This will only change, that bias will only change if we are breaking back into $43,400 and try to go higher from here. So basically invalidating the rising wedge pattern. So for the rising wedge pattern, if we would break down from that and you want to scalp short this, then here, around here would be my entry. Take the top here, it's the target, and the stop loss a little bit smaller, something like this. So here you have a 1 to 2.8 risk to reward ratio trade with 25x leverage. You can make it around 40%, and if the trade goes against you, you lose around 15%. So still, if you want to scalp short that, you can do that. I'm really not a big fan of shorting. A lot of you guys know that already. So I would not personally take that trade. And if I would do that, then just with some fun money, with like $500 or something. But no serious money on that trade for me, because the overall structure is still in an uptrend. When we go to this that 4 hourly chart here, another reason why we are not going higher right now is because of the EMA ribbon that is giving us resistance, and also the POC, the point of control on the VPVR here with that longest bar at $43,700. Only if we can reclaim the ribbon and are above the POC, we're going to see continuation and a run into new yearly highs for the time being. So unless we are flipping the EMA ribbon again with the price action trading above it, here on the 4 hourly chart, we remain in a small downtrend. Now we are kind of lucky that we are kind of trapped here in that range of 41,700 to 43,200, because we have here a lot of historical volume traded areas. But once that is giving in, it will be also a quick move to the downside. Again, for the time being, I don't see this happening because I'm waiting for that announcement to come out at any given time today. When we're looking now at liquidations, remember what I told you guys when we started to break out here to the upside, that I said I don't like that, because most of the time we are faking out and coming back into these ascending triangles. That is exactly what happened here. That's why I did not take any trade here on Bitcoin when this was happening, because I wanted to see if we can stay above it and potentially go higher, which we didn't, and came straight back down. So now, lucky for us, within that ascending triangle, we found support on the upward sloping support line, which was a little bit surprising for me. But here still, I wanted the price action remains within the ascending triangle until next week Tuesday. And then between Tuesday and here Wednesday, actually, let me move this a little bit further away. Here in that area. So from basically Monday to Wednesday, in that window, I want to see that breakout out of that ascending triangle. And that is also coinciding with the SEC announcement for the Bitcoin spot ETF. So because we still have here a lot of short liquidations on low leverage that can be taken out here. We have here again some degenerates that are longing highly over leverage with 50 and 100x just under the current price action. But I'm not really concerned about them. But otherwise here to the downside, I don't see us flushing anytime soon back into these levels here. So the most likely direction again is to the upside. It just might take a little before we are seeing that move. And like I said, there is a chance that we are chopping around here until next week, kind of like this, into the ETF approval. And only then with the ETF approval, we're going to see that Bitcoin gets sent back to the upside here. So, and I would like not to see it also otherwise, because we can also get a second fake out here out of that ascending triangle where we go up, take out all this liquidity, it gets all the way sent down here, and then into the ETF approval, we just come back where we are basically are right now. And that is not what I would like to see. Here on the heat map, on the 3 days heat map, you see also still here at $46,200. There is the highest volume right now on the chart to be taken out in liquidity, $170 million almost. That is up here. So also here again, the most likely target in the short term is for me here $46,000 and beyond, because when we are taking that out, we will create a cascade of short liquidations, and that will fuel Bitcoin to move to $48,000. And guys, don't forget, if you want to take here these trade calls that I give you absolutely for free, do use a BYBIT. You still get $30,000 for free and a debit card if you're eligible in your country. And if you cannot use BYBIT because of KYC or you're in a restricted country, then use CoinW. You still get $5 absolutely for free just for signing up there. Plus they have no KYC. You can use them without a VPN. And from today onwards, you can copy trade me there too. So even without KYC, you will be able to copy trade me on CoinW. If you're already on FAIRDESK, don't worry, I will also continue to copy trade there. And they have still the highest bonus in the industry of $120,000. So if you prefer to use FAIRDESK or both together, that's totally up to you. And otherwise, on BITGET and Phemex, you can also trade from the UK and the US if you want to use these exchanges. Now here on the 12-hourly chart, something I wanted to point out is that bullish divergence has technically played out by running into $45,400. Yeah, a little bit higher, $45,900. As we can see here, price moved away. And also the RSI went above the 60% level that I was talking about, that I would like to see to confirm that the bullish divergence played out. What I did not expect, that we get immediately a rejection from that level back down. So now on the daily chart, we have another bullish divergence playing out, where the RSI is downward sloping and the price action is upward sloping. And this has not played out yet. So here the high to be taken out would be at least around 64.57. But I would like more to see this point on the RSI at least to be touched at 81.7% once that divergence is playing out. So it is here. It can go on also until next week before we see that playing out. But let's see what's going to happen later. You know, like I said, once we get the announcement, I think the market will start to crank up already a little bit when it is 100% clear that next week the ETF is launching. I think the market will completely insane and haywire when we get later the announcement that the ETF is actually coming next week. And then on the actual launch, we're gonna a continued run and then a correction to the downside. That is what I believe is going to happen here. Guys, thank you so much for watching again. Let me know what you believe. Do we get today the confirmation for next week's launch, or will it just be another delay for the ETF? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And don't forget, smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you then again tomorrow.